Hi everyone. Good evening from here. It's our daily live session. I can see three people, but let's just still wait for maybe 2 more minutes to get more people. If you can hear me, please say hello in the comments. How will I put it now? Yeah, if you can hear me, just say hello in the comments. I know some people don't like to put comments in the comment section. Some people just want to listen and not bother about commenting. So, yeah. Okay, Crystal, thank you for joining me. Mushu, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you taking your time to join me this evening. I am so grateful for your presence. I don't know whether I should start playing music at the background to wait for people to join me. Charity, thank you so much for joining me. I am doing fine by God's grace, although it's not easy over here. I won't come and tell you that it's easy, but we keep pushing. We only have to say we thank God for being alive and for everything. Even if we are going through challenges, we just have to keep being grateful and know that the challenging times will pass and we would come out stronger. So thank you so much for joining me. I am really grateful. Mobo, thank you for joining me. Samuel, thank you for joining me. Chijoke, thank you for joining me. Hey, I'm seeing my person there. Emonye, thank you for joining me. Kechukwu Ejike, thank you for joining me. I am so grateful that you're part of this live session that will continue until the end of this month. And I'll be talking bit by bit, let's say bit by bit, about most of the immigration pathways and also answer your immigration questions. If you have any questions that you feel you need answers to, you can put them in the comment section and I will try to answer them. So today's live session is about the rural community immigration program that was launched recently, late last year. It's kind of, it was formerly RNIP, right? They just changed the N to C. So instead of rural and northern, they now put rural community. So it's now rural community. Then they now added francophone community as well. So those are the programs that um, were launched late last year, or they were kind of evolved from RNIP to RCIP. And from going through almost all the websites of the communities, 18 communities were selected to participate in this program. About 6 or 7 of them are I would like to say six, about 6 of them thereabout are in Ontario. We have about 4 of them in Manitoba. Is it 4? Yes, 4. 4 of them in Manitoba, one in Alberta, one in Saskatchewan, one in New Brunswick, one in Nova Scotia, about 3 or 4 communities in British Columbia. So almost all the provinces are participating in the RCIP. Before, there were just very few provinces. That's the provinces that were not Atlantic provinces were the ones participating. But now, almost all the provinces except Newfoundland and Labrador and the territories, only Newfoundland and Labrador and the territories are not participating in this RCIP program or FCIP program. And I promised that I was going to curate the communities plus the priority sectors plus the list of designated employers plus any update. And I said that I had done it, like I'm 80% complete, on 80 to 90% complete. I just have 10% to fine tune everything. And what I observed for most of these communities is that all the designated employers on their websites, they are saying they are not hiring people, which, I mean, before all the communities started updating their websites, Saskatchewan was the first community. Saskatchewan, Moose Jaw in Saskatchewan, and Moose Jaw in Saskatchewan was the first community that mentioned that they were not going to um, participate in the program because they did not have funding, right? They were the first community. And then All the other communities, if you go to their website now, like I just checked Pictou County, Pictou County is in Nova Scotia. All the designated employers there stated not hiring. So if you go to North Bay, same thing. If you go to most of the communities, you see they are saying not hiring, not hiring, not hiring. So I'm now asking myself, like, so what is the essence of putting a program and then the communities or the designated employers are saying they are not hiring? So why did they get designated in the first place? Why did the employers get designated and then on the committee website they are saying they are not hiring? It doesn't make any sense. It defeats the purpose of the program. I feel that the people who are in charge of giving designation to these employers should not give designation to them if there are no job opportunities, right? If there are no job opportunities, there's no point wasting designation slots, because it's just more like leaving the names of the employers on the website to say, oh, these are the employers that are designated. If you are looking for a job, search for job from those employers. But the employers themselves are saying they are not recruiting or they are not hiring. If they use maybe a futuristic language like we will hire in the future, then everybody would know that yes, there's a possibility that um, slots might open for everybody. There's anybody that's looking for work, they might have work opportunities available in the future. And then you will anticipate and be going to the website to check, okay, yes, there's a possibility. But for them to say not hiring, not hiring, not hiring, for me, it sends a wrong message to everybody that these employers are actually not ready. They are just placeholders. They're just sitting down there, occupying space and not participating in the program. So I would recommend, of course, I don't know whether they will hear my voice. I would recommend that they take out that information of not hiring or not recruiting from their websites. They should just take it out so that people who are looking for jobs will know the employers that are hiring and focus on the employers that are hiring than having to go to their website and see that 90% of the employers are not hiring. You can have like 10 employers on the list. Out of the 10, only one is hiring. So what the remaining 9, what are they doing there? They're just occupying space. So that's the current dilemma. That's the current challenge that is going on with the Rcip program, which if you ask me, I would say let's watch and see until next year. There might be reasons why these employers are not hiring. Maybe they already have the employees that they need, and maybe they want to endorse those employees first before they will say they want to hire. So for them, they have to go through the process of getting designation so that the employees can get the endorsement, and then they get their PR before they will now wake up and say, okay, let's open some slots and see how many persons we can hire. Probably I'm just thinking, or I'm assuming that that's what might be happening to these employers for them to say they are not hiring. So as it stands, I know that it might be discouraging to a lot of people, especially when you try to say, okay, this is the pathway I want to use to get my permanent residency, and you go to their websites and you're seeing not hiring, not hiring. So who do you get a job offer from? As, as usual, I've always mentioned, or I've always said that if you find that the employer that wants to hire you is not yet designated, then encourage the employer to get designated. That means if the employer has hired you and then gets the designation, you will now be among the people whose employers are saying not hiring, whereas you have been hired and you're your way to getting your designation. So that's a strategy I'm putting out there. If you go to any of the Rcip websites and you see all the employers there saying not hiring, not hiring, not hiring, don't waste your time. Look for an employer that does not have designation yet. They have not gotten their designation yet. Discuss with them. Will they be willing to go through the designation process? The designation process does not take time, depending on the community anyway. Some communities, they are very straightforward. They'll just tell you, okay, you must have had your business in existence for the past 2 years. You must have filed your taxes. Those are the small, tiny requirements they look out for. And then you sign an agreement and that's it. So if you find yourself in a situation where you want to target the RCIP community, then I would say look for an employer that is yet to be designated. And if the employer is willing to hire you, confirm from the employer if the employer will get their designation. If they say yes, they will get their designation, then go ahead and start working for the employer while the employer tries to get the designation, and then you can use that pathway to get your PR. So don't go and sleep on the RCIP website waiting for when those designated employers will say we are hiring. They might never, ever, I'm just saying, they might never hire. So you have to go through another means to get designation. So this is the advice I'm giving to everybody who is looking at the RCIP pathway. Same thing with the AIP pathway as well, because they require job offers, right? So please, if you find yourself in the community where you have the RCIP as in RCIP is part of the community is endorsed as an RCIP community. Let's say you're schooling in that community, and most of the employers on the designation list are saying not hiring, not hiring, not hiring. Don't bother yourself. Look for an employer that has not gotten the designation yet. Convince the employer, I'm repeating myself multiple times, convince the employer to get the designation so that you can apply for endorsement. Oh, okay. So Mobile is saying they already have a lot of employees waiting to get sponsored. Yeah, that's what I said. That you see, they already have their employees waiting to get sponsored, so they're not hiring. They just put the names there for fancy, you know. So if they already have existing employees, then don't waste your time targeting those employers. It's a waste of time. Target an employer that is not on the designated list, and then convince the employer to get the designation. That's the strategy that I would recommend you use. Target an employer that is not on the designated list, then convince the employer to get the designation so that you can be part of the people that will get the endorsement. And then also, I would recommend targeting communities that are not competitive. There are certain communities that are not competitive. Some communities are competitive, and I'll tell you why I say some communities are competitive. Any community that has any university or college close to that community that is part of the RCIP communities is a highly competitive community. I'll repeat myself again. Any community that is close to the that has university or college that is part of the RCIP community, they are very competitive because there are students schooling in that community, and definitely they will prioritize those students who are schooling in the community. So if they prioritize them, it means if you're trying to get an opportunity from outside or from any other province, you might not be lucky, right? You might not be lucky. So you have to think outside the box. And thinking outside the box means getting another employer that has no designation and then trying to get the employer designated, or buying a business in that community, or being, how will I put it now? There's what we call owner operator, right? Where you own a certain amount of percentage of the business, and the business will now hire you. If the business hires you, right, you can then apply for, the business is the one hiring you, right? You can then get what you call, you can now use it to get endorsement and get your PR. That's another, how will I put it now? Not so straightforward option, right? So owner operator is there. It has been in existence for a long time. A lot of our Asian brothers have been using it. They buy the business and then they hire themselves. The way the system is, before it was straightforward, but RCC now put a rule around it where you just have to hire, like they now hire themselves. So once they hire themselves, they become employees of the business, and that way they get endorsements. Yeah, so that's it. I'll start answering some of the questions that are on the chat. If you have any question concerning any of the RCIP pathways, please let me know so that we can talk about them. That's the major topic for today. RCIP is the major topic for today. Most of the employers already have employees that they want to sponsor. so they are not hiring. They just have few slots for 2025. We are not sure of how many slots they'll be giving for 2026. So if you find yourself in those communities and you're relying on RCIP alone, please think outside the box. You might be surprised that you might not get an endorsement, or get an employer that is not designated and try to get an employer designated. Okay, so question 1, applied for my PGWPA loan due to NOC requirements. Can I apply for my family extension with my GCK? Since I can't wait for my approval before doing that, or should I use my husband's GCK? Well, use your husband's GCK if you apply for your family extension. Your husband should have his own GCK, so use his own GCK to apply for your family extension. And I hope you have the right documents, like your offer of employment should fall within NOC 01. That's for any employment at all. And then for selected occupations in NOC 2, tier 2, 3. Sorry, tier 2 and 3 years. There is selected occupations for tier 2, 3. So you have to be careful when you are applying for your family extension. And of course, you have to put your, what do you call it now? Your offer letter. Because if you don't put your offer letter and your job description or reference letter with your job description, they will not understand what you're applying for. I've said it over and over again. If you're applying for something, always put an explanation of what you're applying for so that they know what you're applying for. Because if you say I'm applying for work permit, there are thousands of types of work permits. There's LMIA work permit, there's LMIA exempt work permit, there's PGWP, there's like business immigration work permit. There are different categories of work permit extension. So you have to mention the kind of extension you're applying for. Okay. Where's a foreign trained pharmacist can get PR if they are in the EE pool with 457 and haven't gotten ITA? Well, there is the typical ways what every other person is following, right? If the pharmacist has evaluated his credential, has the pharmacist maxed out the language results or the language scores? The language scores are critical. Have they maxed it out? Like, have they gotten the highest language result for themselves? And what is the person's age? Because if the age is high, they might be losing points for age. If they have not maxed out the language results, maybe for English language, they need to max it out. Then the only way to add more points is French. That's the only way to add more points because they've taken out the job offer part. So that's the only way to add more points, to increase your points. So probably check your account again. So check your account again and see if you can max out your English language scores. If you've maxed it out, what else? The next option is your age. If you don't have age on your side, if you are above a certain age bracket, you're losing points already. Then the next option is your French language scores. Right? Then what's the equivalent of your pharmacy qualification? Did you evaluate it with PBC or you evaluated it with another organization? Did they give you that professional qualification for you to claim a master's point? If they gave you professional qualification to claim a master's point, that means the next option is either you also increase your educational qualification and start doing a PhD. I don't know how many years it will take you to get a PhD. There is no school that does PhD within 1 year. If there was, everybody would be a doctor. I'm just thinking, if there's a school that does PhD in 1 year, everybody will go and get PhD now. All right. Okay, so next question. How can you do the application process for someone because the RCIP pathway is so confusing? So if you were part of the session when I started, I said RCIP employers, they put their names on the list, but they're actually not hiring. So for you to go outside the box, like think outside the box, is to look for an employer that is not yet designated. As in a random employer, look for a random employer that is not yet designated and convince the employer to get designation. If they are willing to get their designation, then you go ahead. But if they are not willing to get their designation, then there is no point working for that employer. I mean, it's just a waste of time working for somebody that is not willing to get a designation. So that's the advice I can give. Okay, provinces students should target for schooling in Canada. Okay, so this one is very important because um, I know that with changing immigration policies, some people get stuck. People in British Columbia, some of them are stuck. People in Ontario, some of them are stuck, especially they did not do certain programs within the healthcare sector or education sector. These two sectors. Once upon a time, construction was a hot cake. Like construction in Ontario was hot cake. Ontario was demanding for construction workers once upon a time. But now they are not even giving construction workers that much attention that they are supposed to give to them. So same thing with British Columbia. Once upon a time, British Columbia tech workers, they have the tech talent pathway, construction workers, education, healthcare, where what do you call it now? They were priority sectors, but now they are no longer priority sectors. Healthcare is priority, entrepreneurs are priority in British Columbia. But if you ask me which province is best, I've said it before. I think I said it yesterday. I would choose Manitoba, Manitoba. I would choose Manitoba. Why? If you ask me why are you choosing Manitoba, I would say Manitoba because Manitoba is not limiting people to do only care. They are not giving nomination to only people with care experience. They are giving nomination to everybody. So whether you did accounting and you are working as an accountant, if you apply for provincial nomination, you will get it. If you did human resources, you are working as a human resources professional. If you put your application for provincial nomination, you will get it. As long as you schooled in Manitoba, you will get it. You will not lose points, right? That's why I'm saying Manitoba for now is the best. I would have said Newfoundland and Labrador is the best. I would have said so from the beginning. But Newfoundland and Labrador is also prioritizing healthcare workers and education workers, early childhood education, early childhood assistance workers, right? So because they are prioritizing these sectors, I find it difficult to say they are the best. But in terms of affordability, if you ask me which provinces are affordable, most of the Atlantic provinces are very, very affordable for tuition. Like Newfoundland and Labrador, you can see tuition fee of 8,000 Canadian dollars. Yes, 8,000 Canadian dollars. Whereas provinces like Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, they are charging almost 18 to 20,000 Canadian dollars for tuition. So tuition wise, Atlantic provinces are cheaper, very affordable. Schools like College of the North Atlantic, schools like Holland College in PEI, schools like New Brunswick Community College in New Brunswick, schools like Nova Scotia Community College in Nova Scotia, they are very, very affordable. Below 10,000, a little bit above 10,000, 11,000, 15,000, or 12,000 thereabout. Very affordable compared to Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario, British Columbia. So in terms of affordability, the Atlantic provinces, again, Nova Scotia Community College, College of the North Atlantic in Newfoundland and Labrador, even Memorial University used to be there. It's still, I still feel that Memorial University is still the most affordable university in Canada in terms of affordability tuition. So in terms of getting PR now, because you have to weigh your options. In terms of getting PR, you have to now ask yourself, do you want to align with what the provinces are looking for in their province? Or do you want to continue with your career? Like if you have been an accountant all your life, right? And you want to continue with being an accountant in Canada, that means you have to choose a province that can easily give you that PR after you finished your program. So you don't have to start tagging along doing care like every other person is doing now, especially people in Ontario, people in British Columbia. I mean, you did business administration. You came to do a master's in business administration, and then you are now forced to do care because if you want to apply for PR, they will not look at your business administration or qualification. They are looking at your care qualification. So these are the issues New Brunswick is also good as well because, I mean, they have the skilled worker category, although they removed some occupations that they are not prioritizing, like administrative assistant, cook, and some other occupations like that. But if you want to go through the New Brunswick EE route, that's New Brunswick Express Entry route, you do not actually need, what do you call it now? Your occupation is enough, right? You can be working as an accountant, you can be working as a business analyst, business specialist, and you will still get an invitation to apply under the New Brunswick Express Entry route or the New Brunswick Skilled Worker route. So because they don't really have enough provincial nomination slots, right? They are kind of, how will I put it now? They're kind of trying to apportion their provincial nomination slots according to their size. So at the end of the day, if we now move to Saskatchewan, let's analyze Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is also prioritizing two: the health talent pathway, the agricultural talent pathway. Those are the two occupations they are prioritizing in Saskatchewan. It doesn't mean that if you studied in Saskatchewan, you will not get provincial nomination, but you have to still like align yourself with healthcare or agric, right? Because every other occupation is not priority. So you have to ask yourself, I mean, what's going on? Same thing, let's look at Alberta. Now, Alberta should have been the best because Alberta is still maintaining all their, what do you call it now? All their immigration routes. They are still maintaining their accelerated tech pathway. They are still maintaining their opportunity stream. They are still maintaining their rural renewal stream. They are still maintaining the other categories of immigration. But again, Alberta is also being selective in terms of, okay, if you create your expression of interest for Alberta, they would say, for those who have experience under the opportunity stream, they will just select certain knocks and give them invitation to apply. They'll just select certain knocks and give them that certain knock code. That's what I mean by certain knocks. They select certain knock code and ask them to apply. Whereas there are other knock codes that have been there with no way, right? Except maybe through the rural renewals. Even through the rural renewal stream too, they do the same thing as well. For instance, through the rural renewal stream, there was a time they selected only those with qualifications in education assistant. That's what they selected. So even if you must have gotten endorsement from your community, if your occupation does not fall under education or education assistance, you might not get an invitation to apply from Alberta under the rural renewal stream. The accelerated tech pathway has about 28 occupations, which again, you must have an express entry profile. If you don't have an express entry profile, you might not be selected. They also have selected occupations, like at some points they selected people who were pilots. At some points they selected people who were law enforcement officers. So you see that selection that they do, selection of occupations that they do. That is the reason why Alberta is not looking good for me as far as I'm concerned. I want a province that is not selecting occupations. That is my ideal kind of province. A province that is not subjecting you to be doing a certain kind of job, and because you don't want to do it, you don't get PMP. Most of these provinces are doing that. If you're doing a certain kind of job, you will not get PMP. But the only province that is not doing that right now is only Manitoba. So if you're working as a customer service person, if you're working as an accountant, if you're working as a human resource person, you have the opportunity of getting a letter of advice to apply from Manitoba. Especially for those who are, how will I put it now? Those who are of a certain age bracket and cannot create an express entry profile and are relying on provincial nominations. So if they're relying on provincial nominations, that means if they're in Manitoba, they're in the right province. But if they're outside Manitoba, maybe somewhere like British Columbia is saying that those who are working as care workers or support workers must get qualifications in support work. You see the problem I have? They now have put that rule to say if you're working in BC as a support worker, as a care worker, you must get the qualification for you to get provincial nomination. Before, the health stream in British Columbia, if you get a job offer from any of the regional hospitals, right? Just get a job offer from the regional hospitals. It might be any job, whether it's cleaner, whether it's anything. If you get a job offer, you can apply for provincial nomination straight and you get your nomination. That was what was happening before. But they now put restrictions such that they are limiting it to core healthcare jobs like nursing and doctors and pharmacists and all of that. That's what they are now limiting it to. So you see the challenge with all these provinces. If Ontario does a general draw, then I'll say yes, there's possibility in Ontario. But other than that, the issues are still there. So for me, again, the best province for now is still Manitoba. I'm calling it Manitoba. Please don't mind me. I like to call it Manitoba because of the too much snow. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. I don't know, I dealt on that question for a long time. Okay, maxed out English, age. PMP options for pharmacists. There are literally PMP options for pharmacists. I mentioned, if you watch the video I did yesterday, I mentioned one community. Please try and watch that video of yesterday that you can submit your application to, right? Then CLB7 for both languages. Which one is best to make the primary language to qualify for the French? Or you use French. French as your, if you have CLB for both languages, use your French. Use your French language as the primary language to qualify for the French draw. They did a French draw today. 481 was the draw score. So I keep encouraging everybody to please go and learn French. Please go and learn French. Okay. Need clarification on the number of months for proof of work experience under the closed home child care provider program. Many of us also submitted 6 months experience for stage 2. I need clarification on the number of months for proof of work experience under proof of work experience. Okay, so there are 2 options, right? Under the home child care pilot, there are 2 options. If you studied, if your educational qualification, right, aligns with what you're doing, let's say you studied PSW or you studied anything childcare and you're working in this capacity, then the experience requirement is not there. There's no need for experience. You can submit your educational qualification and still qualify. But if you do not have the qualification, you only have the experience. That means you need 6 months of work experience. That's what was stated on the website. 6 months of work experience. Okay. Can I do application for someone via honestly, I won't lie to you. Searching for jobs is a full-time job on its own. And I don't have the capacity for that. I don't have the capacity to search for jobs. But I can direct you. I can give you the websites. I can give you a list of websites where you can search for jobs. But to search for job for people, I don't really have the capacity for that. Okay. I submitted for stage over 9 months now. There is no updates. Sorry, I don't understand what you mean by stage, right? If you can break it down for me. I don't understand what you mean by stage. Caregiver, because our child has autism, how can I go about it? Okay, if your sister-in-law wants to sponsor you as a caregiver, so for the child caregiver pathway and the home support worker pathway, it will not be open to people outside Canada until 2027. There is a gazette to that effect. There is a gazette that was published to that effect that they will not, people for outside Canada who want to apply for the child caregiver pathway and the home support worker pathway, it will not be open until 2027. You know, this year, when the child caregiver pathway and the home support worker pathway, I even did a video where I was saying that Rcip was just playing wayo and all of that. And finally, they announced it. Maybe, was it like 1 week or 2 weeks to the time, right? And then they now said people who are outside Canada will not participate because a lot of people were gearing up I won't lie to you, even me too, I was gearing up to take advantage of it anyway. So a lot of people were like, caregiver pathway, caregiver outside Canada. Some people even paid money to some people and all of that, which is wrong. You're not supposed to pay for job offers. So, and then Rcip in their infinite wisdom or in their wisdom decided to shift the opportunity for those outside Canada to 2027. So the opportunity for you to apply for permanent residence under the child caregiver pathway or the home support worker pathway, especially if you're outside Canada, is not going to be open until 2027. For 2026, it's only those who are in Canada. For 2025, of course, it's only those who are in Canada that apply. Now, for your sister who wants to hire you, she should prepare for 2027. And you too, as the candidate, also prepare yourself for 2027. Now, the question is, how do you prepare yourself? You prepare yourself by making sure that you have the relevant work experience. The relevant work experience as a child caregiver. You could be working for a nursery school, you could be working for an independent person, and they are paying you salaries as a child caregiver. Of course, when I mean paying you salaries, if you watched some of my videos that I did then, I said the salary payment should be into your account. Anything cash salary, IRCC does not like to see that. They don't like to see, oh, I was employed and my employer was paying me cash. This is 2025. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. So if you are going to be hired by somebody, tell the person to pay you the salary into your personal account. And then you prepare yourself. You write the normal language exam. Of course, you can't write it now because in 2 years' time it might expire. So you wait towards the time, write the exam, get at least a minimum CLB 5. I would say get a higher score if it's possible. And then also have your credential evaluated and also have a certificate or a qualification that supports that, okay, you can actually work as a child caregiver, right? Not just saying, oh, I have the experience. Just do 1 or 2 online qualifications or certifications, and then you can work as a child caregiver. And those are the documents you can present. Okay, so I hope I've answered that question. What pathway is best for nursing PR for a US GC holder? Where's BSN in process, NNAS in process, EE profile active but became unqualified recently due to only RN? Seems only BSN is approved for nurses. Okay, best pathway for nursing PR for US green card holder. Recently, the Ontario government and the British Columbia government announced that people coming from the US would have a fast track, what do you call it now? Have a fast track licensing process or licensing qualification process for people from US, right? So I feel that this person should take advantage of this fast track, especially for British Columbia. British Columbia said within matter of days, they can give you the equivalent of Canadian license to start working in Canada. And then next thing you can get a job offer. So if this person is in the US, let them try getting their Canadian license from either British Columbia or Ontario. The other provinces, they've not mentioned how they will be able to fast track the licensing requirement, right? But they should get in touch with the organization that is in charge. Probably if you send me an email, I can send you the email or the email, the website of the organization that is in charge of what do you call it now? Of fast tracking the licensing process for US nurses. So once she gets her license, I'll use BC as an example. She gets her license, right, to fast track her license in British Columbia. With that, she'll be able to get a job offer. There's a website called Health Match BC. If you send me an email, I'll also send you that website as well. Health Match BC, they always advertise job opportunities for people of that category. And like I said yesterday, when the video live I did yesterday, where I was saying, is Canada still open to people outside? And I said, they are open to professionals who have work experience in US, UK, New Zealand, Australia. So if she has work experience in these places, all that she needs to do is to try to get a job offer. Get her license first recognized, either in British Columbia or Ontario, get a job offer, and then take advantage of the British Columbia or Ontario provincial nomination streams. I would recommend British Columbia more because they are fast. And I would recommend BC more because apart from her getting a job, she just needs a job offer and then she will apply for the health stream or the health authority stream and get provincial nomination. So that's what I would recommend for her. I submitted for stage 2 under home childcare provider program over 9 months. There's no update. So I'm just thinking if I should update my application by adding my more experience. Well, you can add. Okay, so if they have, I don't know whether you have your temporary application number. So for those of you, if you're part of this session, if you submitted your application to Rcip for what do we call it now? Under the home care program, you can actually call them to give you your temporary application number. I know that they have not started issuing acknowledgement of receipts yet. Acknowledgement of receipts is typically the next stage where you get an email from Rcip saying that your application was received, your application is complete, and then they give you an application number. But before that, you can call them so that they can give you a temporary application number, right? So if you call them, ask for a temporary application number, and then use that temporary application number to upload anything you want to upload via the web form, so that they can have those documents when they are trying to confirm if your application is correct and complete. Okay. Next question. Someone with PGWP expiring in 3 months has full-time job, but no sponsor. His wage is not enough to apply for family of 3. What is the way out? So I don't understand. Not enough to apply for a family of 3. What is the way out? I don't understand your question. Please, can you be more explicit? You have a full-time job. Your PGWP will so expire in 3 months. You do not have enough to apply for a family of 3. Like, what application are you talking about? If you can tell me the application you're talking about, then I will understand. Are you referring to express entry or provincial nomination or extending your PGWP? If you can expatiate or if you can explain further, then I'll be able to understand what you are trying to say. Okay. Best pathway for social workers. Social workers right now is only express entry that I've seen has social worker. And British Columbia. So British Columbia is one funny province. They categorize social work plus health work under one category, right? That's what they did. Social work plus healthcare is categorized under healthcare in BC. So if you ask me, I would say express entry because they have a category-based selection for social workers, and then British Columbia because they categorize both healthcare and social worker under one category, under healthcare. Every other province, there's no information. Okay. What pathway best for website designers that does not study that in school but is self-taught? If you're self-taught, I don't know how you want to justify the education part, because especially under express entry. So for express entry, even website designer, I don't think is listed as one of the occupations that is under the category-based selection. So that means you're limited to the provinces. And for provinces, the only province I can recommend right now is Alberta and Manitoba. For Alberta, accelerated tech pathway, but you need educational qualification to be able to go through. If you're self-taught, that means you should be considering maybe coming as a business owner. I don't know, I'm just suggesting. Okay. I recently got 600 points from NB in EE today. Oh, wow, that's wonderful. And qualify for both CEC and PMP. What should I expect next so I can prepare for the upcoming draw? Well, check your profile that the information you have submitted is correct, right? Check your profile. If it is correct, then you prepare your documents. So if you got it today, that means the next draw will be I don't know, are they doing draws in 2 weeks time or next month? Yeah. So just check your, what do you call it now? Check your profile, check your documents, start preparing your documents. If you've not gotten your police clearance from your home country, try to get it ready, because you only have 60 days to submit your express entry profile. Make sure that your passport is still valid, make sure that your birth certificate meets the standard. Make sure that your marriage certificate, if you're married, is the original marriage certificate. Like, there are a lot of, if you know what's going on right now, a lot of applications are being refused on a daily basis because of minor, very, very, very minor issues. And if you don't want to fall into that category of having your application being refused, it is better to work with a consultant or work with multiple people that will look at your application multiple times if they have the time to do that. So be careful. Rcip is no longer playing or smiling. Gone are the days where if you make a mistake, they will send you an email to provide it. This time around, they don't care. If you just make one mistake, they just kick you out, then it's back to square one. Okay. Next question. Caregiver as work permit visa. So caregivers, you cannot, so the caregiver pathway, right? You cannot apply for work permit yet, because that particular PR pathway, how will I put it now? There is there used to be a policy in place not to process, is it not to process LMI, something like that? I'll check and confirm. It's keeping my head. Now, if you want to come and work as a caregiver, that means your sister has to do LMIA. She has to do LMIA, and of course, her income has to meet the threshold to do the LMIA. Okay. All right, so I'll move on to the next question. For work permit extension with Friends CLB5, can application be made for the primary applicant and the spouse at the same time? Or will it be based on the primary applicant receiving the approval first? Okay, so for the work permit extension with CLB5, the primary applicant, so it's a two-way thing, right? You have selected occupations. If you check, apart from those who are applying for PGWP, who need to meet that selected occupation requirement, there are certain categories of work permit holders that are supposed to meet the, what do you call it now? The selected occupations requirements. And this is what I would recommend you do. Search Francophone mobility, right? Once you get the Francophone mobility, then look at the requirements. I've not looked at it in details, whether spouses of people applying under Francophone mobility are eligible to apply for their own work permit extension as well. I've not looked at it, but the basic I know is this. If you have CLB5, you can apply for your work permit extension. Whether it extends to the spouses, I have not looked at it in details yet. Okay, so next, the person whose PGWP is expiring in 3 months is applying for PMP in one of the Atlantic. PGWP expiring in 3 months is applying for PMP. Sorry, I didn't get your question. I didn't get your question. I didn't get your question on this one. So, and that's the last question for now, except there are other people that want to put more questions. That's the last question for now. Okay. So, again, just a quick recap of what I talked about for RCIP. If you're part of the people in the RCIP communities, please think outside the box, get an employer that is not yet designated. Or if you're able to get an employer that is designated, that means you're lucky, which is good news. But if you're not able to get an employer that is designated, then try to convince the employer to get their designation so that you can take part of that. But if you're just relying on them to say, oh, we are now recruiting, I think you might not see that on their websites. That's what I'm thinking, that you might not see that on their websites. Okay. So since there are no more questions, I just want to, can I wrap up now? Maybe I should wrap up now since there are no more questions. Because I wanted to quickly open the Francophone mobility to see if that's, what do you call it now? Spouses of people applying under that category for Francophone mobility. If you're applying from outside Canada, bring your family with you. Okay. So the eligibility is still the same. It's still the same thing from what I'm reading. It's still the same thing that applies to everybody applying under that spousal open work permit category. It's still the same thing. It's still the same. Okay. So I want to say a very big thank you for joining me in the absence of any other questions. Like there are no other questions. I want to say a very big thank you for joining me this evening, for taking your time out to join me this evening. I know that there are some emails that I've not responded to. Yeah, the BC Fast Track for Nurses. I said you should send me an email so that I can send you the link. I'll send you the website and the link so that you can have it, so that you can use that one to, what do you call it now? To send to the person to get their license as fast as possible. Sorry, I have my little one who is distracting me here. Please don't be offended. Let me sort her out. Okay. I've given her cartoons to go and disturb herself. All right. Oh, consultation with me. It's via the website. So I have my August special offer that is going on because of my birthday. My birthday is on Sunday, guys. And I don't have anything prepared. My friend was asking me, what do we do? I said, nothing. Typical, like me, I'm not a birthday person, right? I'm not really a celebration person. Yeah, so the August special offer is discounted. It's already discounted. If you go to the website, that's what you will see, August special offer. So I'm doing it for my community members. Even this YouTube live every day that I'm doing is for everybody that have questions. If you want a one-on-one, like you just want a one-on-one with me, then you can book via the website. But if you just have general random question that you feel that everybody can benefit from, then we can have that conversation on my YouTube live. Tomorrow, I don't know, which topic do you want me to talk about tomorrow so that I can prepare myself for that topic? Please suggest. Thank you so much. Which topic? Thank you, Lovett. Which topic do you want me to talk about tomorrow? Is it looking like we are having scarcity of immigration topics? What are your burning questions? Like which area of immigration do you want me to dissect? No, sorry, Ola. I wish I can discount the application. Application is very, very thorough. Like when I have my application, a lot of people that work with me or they have used my service, they know that I'm a very thorough person. It's very, very thorough, and the hours that goes into it. So it's not discounted. I wish it was, but it's not discounted. Okay, province is moist. Or do you guys want me to talk about PGWP people in Ontario and the best advice for them? Okay, let me take it down. PGWP in Ontario and the best advice. Let me put it down so that will be the topic for tomorrow. But if I feel that it's even a smaller topic compared to other issues. CRS cause PGWP in Ontario. Okay. So let me just quickly take it down so that I know that I prepare for the, what do you call it now? The topic for tomorrow. The best strategy around Ontario and what people should do. PGWP in Ontario. CRS score. Okay. So I'll do that. Uh, okay, so I'm taking it down. So tomorrow, okay, no problem. So tomorrow we will talk about Ontario. I think the whole of Ontario immigration program, we will focus on it. We'll focus on Ontario, all the immigration programs in Ontario, what's going on, what people should do differently, if you should move out, when you should move out, when you should start strategizing. If you're a student, how you should start targeting. If you know that Ontario is giving you stress and you're a student and you've seen that it might not work for you in Ontario, you just start to find your way out. As in, find your way out of Ontario and where you should be going to. Okay, so I think that's what we'll talk about. Sorry, Kate. So the employers that are not designated are the employers that are already in the community. So you just go to the community website, Community Chamber of Commerce. Each community, they have their Chamber of Commerce or they have their community job websites, right? Their community job websites. If you see random jobs, you can, but if the jobs are part of the priority occupations that they've selected and the employer is not designated, you apply. And then if they are interested in you, you talk to them if they are willing to get their designation. Some of them, one thing I know is that a lot of us, right, we do not know how to hold the conversation around immigration with a prospective employer or an employer. A lot of us shy away from that. A lot of people find having to have that communication very difficult. So you have to learn how to be able to talk to an employer, a potential employer, whether they will be willing to get a designation. I know that we come from different backgrounds. Some people are very direct. Some people just go straight ahead and ask, I want the job. Will you be willing to endorse me? Some of the employers don't even know what endorsement is. I've held a conversation with, I've held conversations with lots of employers. They don't even know the whole process because they have lawyers, they have immigration consultants that are helping them. So they don't know. Their own is, oh, okay, talk to my lawyer or talk to my immigration consultant, or I don't know at all. So if you're in any of these RCIP committees or find yourself in this situation where you have a prospective employer and they don't even know anything at all about the program, right? They don't even know anything about the immigration program and they're interested, they're highly interested in helping you, then it is left for you to know how you can break it down for them to understand what it entails. Because some of them think that this program will require them paying some sort of money. Some of them, when they see, you have to pay $230 LMIA exemption fee, they shy away. But it's a minimum, it's a very minimal amount compared to applying for LMIA, where you have to spend almost 8 to 9 months trying to apply for LMIA. Okay. So, how spouse of master students to get PR. So I'll talk about that as well tomorrow. So I've taken note of these two topics and hopefully we will treat them tomorrow. It's already at the top of the hour. So I want to say a very big thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with, have this conversation with me concerning immigration. I'll try as much as possible to dish out as much information as I can to help as much as I can. So, please invite your friends who might be stuck, might have issues, and they need answers, please invite them to join this live session instead of sending me emails, because if you send me emails, it's difficult. I have 1,001 things I'm trying to do. So if you join the live session, you ask your questions, I'll be in a position to answer your question on the live session. All right. Thank you so much and have a very good evening and stay blessed. Enjoy your weekend. See you tomorrow by God's grace. Thank you so much and have a good evening. Bye.